Hello, hello, welcome back. It's been a while since I have sent out a video to you guys, so I wanted to make sure that we get something back on the books. Now that we are in the fourth quarter, our best practices and everything that we do really is heavily weighed on fourth quarter. A lot of agents, what they do is they kind of take their foot off of the gas in the fourth quarter because they figure, I'm a little far off from my goals. I'm not going to hit my X amount of transactions that I wanted to hit this year. Let me just peel back because we're in the fourth quarter and I'll ramp back up in January. Well, the reason why that doesn't work is because what you do, the activities that you do today will give you what you need as far as a paycheck in the next 90 days. So what you do right now will get you paid in the next 90 days, 90 to 180 days. So why not start now? Why not implement the things that you want to implement right now, going into fourth quarter, going into November and December, when people have a little bit more time to kind of be on their phones, they're not as busy at work, whatever the case is. A lot of people are, gearing up for the holidays, yes, but does that mean that you take your foot off the gas? Well, if you want a very slow January, then go ahead and do so. But if you want to know how to kick off the 2023 year and have it be the most productive year, then you're going to need to start right now. And if you haven't started right now, it's not too late. You can still start implementing some activities and practices into your business to help you get closings in January, February, and March. So quarter one. So I recently watched Bill Pipes. He is a productivity coach. I watched one of his sales calls, and he was talking about sending out CMAs to your past clients and your sphere, and how agents have been getting a lot of success from it. There are some agents that are doing it on a much larger scale, and there are some agents that are just doing it on a small scale. And they talked about how one agent is sending out, has committed to send out 725 or 750 CMAs in the next 30 days. So he wants to send it out to like a farm. And then there's another agent that sent it out to her past clients. She only sent out 5 and got 3 listings from it. So talk about conversion and how amazing that looks on any type of scale. It could be a small scale, it could be a large scale. So he talked about sending out CMAs to your past clients in Sphere, but you can also do it, to your farm area. And he talked about how we should be the resource for our Sphere, our clients, our past clients. If you don't have any past clients, then the people that on social media, what type of message are you portraying in this type of market right now, where people are, getting hit left and right with whatever is on the media, right? The media and the news outlets, they're all portraying how the market is tanking and, we're in a recession and, all of these things are happening right now. What kind of information can you put out to your sphere, to your audience on social media, however that looks? It could be 200 of your closest friends. It could be thousands of people that follow you. It does not matter, but what type of message are you conveying to your audience? What kind of conversations are happening when you get together with other people, either at events, at festivities, all different types of areas that you're going to get together and you're going to hear those conversations. People are going to have those conversations, especially if they own a home. So you need to be that person to be the resource for them and to bring them value, because they're going to look at you, especially if they know that you're a realtor, they're going to look at you for some guidance and they're going to look at you and ask you some questions. So my My number one thing that I always tell agents, especially new agents, on how they can learn about what's going on in the market, especially their hyper local market, is to study the MLS. Study and see what is going on day in and day out. How many new listings do we have on the market? How many expired? How many had a price increase or a price decrease? How many went pending? And how many closed? And the way that you do that, you can kind of keep track of it through a spreadsheet. You can look over the MLS stats because they produce stats every month. So every month you can go into the MLS and you can see what is going on from month to month. And it also shows you year over year. So you can see last year at this time, we closed X amount of transactions. This year at this time, we closed less than that. That's what's going on typically right now in this market across the board, is that we've got less transactions that we're closing than we did last year. So a lot of agents have gotten into the market in the past 2 years. The past 2 years has not been a stable market. It's been an insane market, a market that has never been seen before. And so if you've gotten into the real estate industry in the past 2 years, coming out of that type of market, you don't know what you don't know, right? The practices that we were putting in place prior to these past 2 years are basic practices that we need to make sure that we get back to. So we need to get back to the basics. We need to get back to constantly prospecting, constantly following up, constantly making sure that we are marketing and making sure that we are telling our story and putting ourselves out there. Because, you know, last year, literally what we could do is walk outside and get 5 transactions and 5 people would tell us that they wanted to buy. But it's so much harder now because of the interest rates being low. I'm sorry, the interest rates being high, and we still have low supply. So we're in a 30 to 60 day, depending on where you are in the market, 30 to 60 day supply. So houses are still selling in relatively decent amount of time. So a balanced market would usually put you at 3 to 4 months of inventory. We're right now at 1 to 2 months inventory. So we still got low inventory. In some places it's a little bit higher than others, but it's relatively still a seller's market because there's not as much properties on the market. We are heading into a more balanced market because we're starting to see more inventory pop up. However, it's not a buyer's market yet. And the reason why I say that is the buyers that we're showing right now, what is happening is they're thinking that they can take their time and they're thinking that they can lowball. Well, sellers know that they can get what they can get still in this market. So because of that, sellers are saying no, they're not agreeing to a low ball. But if you come in at full asking or just below it, they are agreeing to these prices. Maybe even coming at full asking and asking for a little bit of seller credits. They're agreeing to these things. So we're starting to see little trends. So based on what you're seeing and how you can take that information and spin it back and give it to your friends in your sphere when they ask this information, constantly study the market. Look at what's going on the MLS so you have actual numbers and you're not looking to CNN for information. You're not looking to Bloomberg for information. Although those outlets like Bloomberg, those outlets are great if you're looking to get kind of a feel of what's going on in the economy. However, when it comes to the real estate market, you want to have factual numbers. So you want to go to your local MLS because Bloomberg will cover the entire nation and what's going on with the real estate market in the entire nation. They're not covering hyper local. So they're not telling your story of what's going on in your market. You want to make sure that you do that due diligence for yourself if you want to be perceived as the real estate resource for your sphere, for your past clients, whoever it is. So he talked about making sure that we are conveying that message. There is a slowdown in the market and in price appreciation, where typically price appreciation would be about 3 to 5%. That's normal. We have seen much more than that in the past 2 years, obviously, but now that we've slowed down a bit, it's still at a 3 to 5%. I was talking to a lender a few days ago, and they are predicting that interest rates will continue to rise before the end of the year. However, next year, they may start to trickle down. So what we see right now as, in the sixes, next year they'll start to trickle down to like the mid fives. So knowing this information and keeping in contact with your lender resources that know these things and can predict it and look at trends and look at forecasts for what's going on with interest rates and things like that. It's super important for you to do that, because then that allows you to tell that story to your clients. Another reason why that's important is because you need to start figuring out solutions for your clients. What are we going to do for the people that are on the fence because of interest rates? There's a lot of people right now that we've got so many people in the pipeline, and they don't want to make a move because interest rates are really high. So what are you going to do? Are you going to just let them sit there, or are you going to come up with solutions? So what we've done is we partnered up with a lender, and that lender is going to allow a buy down rate. And the way that they allow the buy down rate, well, you can always buy down a rate, right? But it costs money out of pocket for the buyer at closing. It could be 2 points, 3 points, whatever it is. And instead of the buyer coming out of pocket for the buy down rate, this is something that a seller could contribute seller credits to. So they give seller credits at closing, and it allows the buyer to buy down the rate temporarily. So for the first year, it would go down to 4.5, or whatever the buy down rate is. The following year, it would go up a point. But by the second or third year, they're able to refinance because the interest rates will be much better. So that allows them to marry the house, but date the rate. You're going to hear that a lot. Marry the house, date the rate, because the rate will always change. Another thing I wanted to cover is people will always need to buy or sell real estate. It's something that I think when people hear all of the conversations that are happening right now, as far as, we've got a recession, it's a slowdown, there's not as many homes selling. The number one thing that a lot of agents will do is freeze up and not do anything and think, shoot, like I need to start getting money this way, I need to start getting money that way, and then they'll back out of the business. Well, instead of you backing out of the business, why don't you lean into that opportunity and figure out how to get more business? Because people will still need to buy and sell. There will be people that are relocating. There will be people that, there's the 4 Ds in real estate that will always keep you afloat. And that is debt, death, diapers, and divorce. So if you constantly look for those opportunities, the 4, you will stay afloat in this business. So what does debt look like? Well, if they've got a pre-foreclosure, short sale, foreclosure, those are people that have not paid their property taxes. Those are people that are going to need to sell in order to get themselves out of that situation. Divorce, people are divorcing all the time, unfortunately, but it is one of the main ways that you can get more business. Another way is diapers. If people are needing to upsize, they've got a 2-bedroom condo, they have a kid, and then they just had another kid and they need more space. That's going to force them out of their current situation and into a bigger space. So they're always going to need to buy. Relocation. People relocate for work and they want to buy a house, or they need to, relocate out of South Florida and go somewhere else. So that's the opportunity for you to sell. And then it's an opportunity for you to refer that business to wherever they're going to buy. So you still get a 25% referral fee for wherever they're buying, because you're referring it to another agent there. And then the last D, death. So probates, you're looking at estates. If you can get with a great attorney, that's one way. Otherwise, you can always look up through the clerk reports, probate lists and estate lists. So These types of situations are just natural situations that happen in life. And those are the situations that you've got to keep top of mind. That way you can keep yourself afloat in this business. So I did want to mention that don't freeze up in this type of market. Make sure that you're still constantly doing some type of prospecting activity, which leads us to our, the prospecting activity that Bill Pipes covered was the CMA a day, or 2 CMAs a day, or whatever you want to do. So the CMA a day that he covered is pretty much taking any past client or sphere that you have their information, like you have their address, you have their emails and phone numbers, and send them a CMA a day. And the way that he structured it and laid it out, I'll kind of cover it for you guys. But before I do, he had a statistic that just kind of he was talking about all his coaching clients and how for every 6.5 CMAs that they sent out, they received 1 appointment from it. Now that's on average. You could be like that one agent that sent 5 CMAs only and got 3 appointments from it. Or you could need a little bit more. It depends on your market, and it depends on the people that you, your sphere and your past clients. So there was, so I did a little bit of calculations and I said, okay, if we do 1 CMA, that's great, but why don't we like double it and do 2 CMAs a day? Now, if you do 2 CMAs a day, based on the 6.5 to 1 ratio that he has come up with, if you do 2 CMAs a day, that is potentially, that can potentially generate you 73 appointments, listing appointments for the year. What can you do with 73 listing appointments for the year? Let's say half of those convert and you end up listing them. So that's around like 36 closings, 36 listings that you have that you can close. That's a lot. 36, and the average commission is about $9,000. So if you do the calculation on that, that's changing people's lives. It's a life changer. So just keep that in mind. Send out 2 CMAs a day, and you can convert 73 appointments in 1 year. This is an activity that I've started implementing already. So I've got 5 CMAs I did yesterday, doing 5 a day. So I'm taking it up a little bit, but don't feel like you need to. Some ways that they did do CMAs is some agents, like, because RPR is free with the MLS, you can do a CMA through RPR. You can also do it through Cloud CMA, which does cost a little bit of money. I believe it's like $40 or $100 a month, depending on the type of program you want. But it does cost you. So Cloud CMA does cost, however, it's a little bit more user-friendly, but there is RPR that's free. So you don't need to go out and you don't need to pay for anything. You can easily do it from the resources that you have in the MLS, which is RPR. So what people are doing is doing and remember, the information that is on the CMA that you're going to be sending does not have to be accurate. You are sending an estimate. So this is an estimate of what they could possibly sell for. And so you're sending this out to your past clients. He's got the 4 steps at what he does, and I'm going to go over that with you guys, and then just kind of talk to you about what I'm implementing. So first he sends the CMA through email. And if you're going to be using Cloud CMA, it comes with like 70 pages that you can download. What he's saying is send only the page that shows how much their estimated value is. So there's one page in particular that will show an estimated value. So he's sending that along with a cover letter. Not a cover letter, but an email, and I'll make sure to attach what the email says. So in the email, he's sending the estimated value and then the paragraph that will the paragraph that will outline what the email says. So after he does that, he texts the past client or the sphere of influence, whoever it is that he's sending it out to, and he's sending a video message through text. So it's not just like a long detailed text, it is a video message, and it's telling them that, you know, he just emailed them, hey, so, you know, he's taking his phone and he's like recording himself. And he's like, hey, I just sent you over a hold on, he detailed it, or maybe not, but he sent them a text, and it's pretty much said in his little video format. And if you have iPhone, it's great because iPhone doesn't have a limited amount of video that you need to record. I think Samsung does, from what they were saying. But in the video format, all you have to say is, hey, you know, so and so, I just wanted to let you know that I just sent you over something in your email. I want you to take a look at it. It's got some great information on your property for you, and I'm going to follow up with you through a phone call tomorrow. But please take a look at it. Let me know. I think you'd really love the information that I've found for you. I'll get you the exact script. You don't have to do it word for word. It could be in your own, you know, language. It doesn't have to be very formal, especially if you're talking to past clients that you've dealt with or your sphere. They know you don't talk a certain way. So talk however is natural to you in the video when you send it. And then what you do is the day after, you give them a phone call and you go, hey, I just wanted to follow up because, you know, I sent you over something in your email. Did you happen to take a look at it? No, yes, whatever it is. If they say no, well, do you have some time right now? We can go over it. It'll just take about 2 to 3 minutes. If they say yes, and then you kind of start talking and you get into a conversation about what their value is right now and how much that, you know, the market is telling them that the price of their homes are going down, but the actual statistics are saying that they've gained a ton of equity since they first bought. I just to, you know, kind of preface this, I would make sure that the CMAs that you're sending over have actual equity built into them. So if you don't remember, you know, your past client and what they bought at, go into the property tax appraiser's website and see, so you can remember what they last purchased at, so you know if they have enough equity. Otherwise, that conversation will not go well. You can still give them a call, but I would not send a CMA just to be like, hey, you don't have any equity in your home, or you know, whatever it is. But a ton of people still have equity in their home. So when I was going through the CMAs that I was sending out, everyone that I pulled up had gained at least $50,000 worth of equity in their home. And that was from the purchase price, because they still had to put money down. So their amount that they owe compared to, you know, what their property is worth, the equity in the home is still going to be a better amount than what they bought at. So they still have some equity in their home. And what the equity can do for them is, if they're not looking to sell, it's okay. You know, at least you're giving them this information. Like if they were looking to take out an equity line of credit, you know, they still have that information handy to them. So you're providing them with, you know, some type of like service call. This is not a sales call, it's a service call. You want to make sure that you are servicing your past clients, that you are staying in front of them, because if you're not staying in front of them, somebody else is. So someone else is going to be giving them that information, and they're going to become the trusted resource. Why not it be you? Another thing that I am implementing is and they've talked about this in the Fast Forward group, is the adoption of buyers. So let's say we were on the listing end. In the past 2 years, I have sold more listings than buyers. So if you're on the listing end, get the information for the buyer that bought your listing and send them a CMA. So it's called Adopt a Buyer. So you're adopting the buyer that purchased on your listing, and it's totally ethical. You can definitely do that because they're not signed to anybody at the moment, unless they are signed and they have a listing up, and that's different. You don't want to solicit people that have a listing agreement in place at the moment. But if they don't, then go ahead and send them a CMA as well. That's an adopt-a-buyer. Going back to what he does after the phone call. So if he calls and they don't pick up, he calls for the next 3 days and leaves a voice message every single day. Hey, I sent you out something yesterday. I wanted to follow up yesterday. I gave you a call, but I didn't get you. I know you're pretty busy. If you have some time, please give me a call. Would love to review the email that I sent you. And then he says he does that for 3 days. So what I am doing, instead of doing the phone calls every single day for 3 days, I am going to mail these CMAs. So I'm mailing them because I know that sometimes an email, it can go into the junk, and people typically sometimes don't love to kind of open up their emails. So what I'm doing is I am going to just mail CMAs. I'm mailing them off to people that have closed with us in the past 6 months and on. So in the past 6 months, they can still have, like, I looked up one of our buyers back from January, and she gained a ton of equity. I think she gained like $150,000 just in this past like 9 months. So they can still have gotten a ton of equity in their home, even if they bought earlier this year. So as long as it's been at least 6 months, then you've got some information that you can put into that CMA and mail them out. So I am mailing out the CMAs. I'm going to be following up with a phone call the week after, and that's how I'm doing it. You can do it however you'd like. You can do the easy CMA strategy that Bill Pipes does, which he says is very effective. I like to be less intrusive with my past clients and my sphere. Now, if I am doing a farm, and if I've sold in a specific area and I kind of want to get more listings from that area, or if there's an area that, I really want to focus on, what I would typically do is mail out postcards. So you can go on corefact.com. You can mail out postcards that have a QR code. What they do is they scan that QR code if they want to get an approximate market value of their home. So they scan the QR code, it takes them to a website. The website forces them to implement their information. So they implement their first, last name, email, address, and phone number. And once they do that, it sends that information over to you. So what we do then is, from that information, we take it, we produce a CMA and hand drop it off to every single person that comes in as a lead from the mailers. So if you're going to be farming, just make sure that, the farming is, you've got a plan for it. It's not, farming just kind of like just in one area because I kind of like that area. I mean, you can, but is it going to give you a good return on your investment? That'll probably be like the next episode that I do, is just on farming and how to pick out a farm and how to get more listings from it. So that's pretty much all that I've got for you guys today. Start working on at least one CMA a day. You can work on one CMA. Now, who is your sphere? If you don't have any past clients, you're brand new in real estate, you've never sold a listing, you've never helped a buyer, who can you get to send out CMAs to? Your friends. If you know that your friend has purchased a home prior to you getting licensed, ask them for their information. Call the people in your phone. Your phone has a ton of contacts that you can contact, and just say, hey, do you happen to own your home? If they say yes, say, I would love to send you some information about your property. Do you mind if I get your address and an email, and I'll send it over to you? And it's a really quick conversation, but it's also a conversation that you need to be having, because you need to introduce yourself to your sphere as a real estate agent, because they may or may not know it. So that's pretty much it for me today. I hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you guys next time.